We're just going to see after this about mathematical equations. In mathematical equation, at first we are just going to focus on linear algebra. See guys, I'm not going to teach you like a maths teacher. I'm just going to focus on the main concept we are just going to use on the quant finance. So let's begin now. So first thing is linear algebra. So in linear algebra, which thing is very important and which thing we need to learn. For example, two things are there. Two concepts are there where we need to focus. One is vector, another one is matrices. So in these two concepts, now in this video, we are just going to see about vector. What is a vector? Vector is nothing but focusing on the list of number in a single dimension. So what is an exactly a dimension? Like you people would have some idea about dimensions, right? Where and all we will see dimensions, where and all we will see the plots, they all come under vectors. For example, let me give 2 comma 6 like this. You people have seen somewhere, right, in our schooling days or in our small age, they would be covered the concepts called graph, like x-axis and y-axis. So this x-axis and y-axis are going to help you to plot where the dimensions are going. So like this, if you have only two components, then it's called as a 2D dimension. If you have a plenty more than two, like if you have three for example, like 2 comma 6 comma 5, then it's going to be 3D dimension. 3D dimension nothing but first one is going to be x, another one is y, and the third one is z. So like that, if it's going 5 or 10 components, the dimensions will be changed a lot based on the representation. But in this, where we exactly going to use, in this, what all concepts are very very important, we are just going to see. Guys, in quant finance, a vector, we will use this vector to find out or to see the weightage of our portfolio. You would be thinking, what weightage? Let me go within vector. Always vector will be combined of components. For example, if I give 2 comma 6 and another value like 4 comma 6, then what you have to do is you need to add this and you need to add this. So when you're adding, you will be getting 8 comma like around 12. So you'll be getting this value. So you just got the single dimension. So you're just going to plot it. But in our scenario, we will use vectors to write an equation to balance or to see the weightage. How we are going to use this? We can go a little bit deeper because vector is a very big concept, but I'm just going to take what all we are just going to use it on our quant finance or quant based equations. In weightage, how we can find out? For example, you just imagine you have three stock A. Like for example, you have two stock A, which is like 60%, and stock B, you have 40%. What it means? For example, you have two stocks in your portfolio. In that two stocks, you're just going to find out the weightage. You're just going to find out what is the weightage of this. So for that, what you have to do is you have to divide each thing from 100. For example, stock A is going to be 60 divided by 100. Why 100 is like from 100%, 60% of money is in stock A. So we have to find out the decimal value for this. For example, if you can divide this, you will be getting a value of 0.6. Let me go with stock B. Okay, stock B, we have 40%, which is divided by 100, which you will get a value of 0.4. So how we have to convert into vector is 0.6 comma 0.4. So now you got it, you just clear in this, we just got this value. After getting this value, like you people would be holding your portfolio for longer term, or you would be like holding a portfolio for some other term. So you will be getting a question like this. For example, let me make it bigger. Oh, this is too big. This is too small. Okay. So you will be getting a question like this. You will be for example, if you are writing any H funds exam or anything like that, you will be getting a question like this, and you need to balance the value. Okay, so here let me go ahead with this one. Okay, instead of converting to decimals, let me remove this. Let me remove this one. So let's assume in your portfolio there are 3 assets. So here the question is given, your portfolio is having 3 assets. See, this question is not only for examination. Even if you are building your own project, you need to know what the portfolio is balanced. For example, if you have $100, how it's getting balanced. So for that, you will use this equation. Most of your code, like 80% of your code, you will be having this. So you need to know that. In linear algebra, you're just going to work on with this, which is called as vector. In vector, only with the vector you can find out the weightage or the return which you just got from the portfolio. Previously, we just seen the weightage, how to calculate the weightage and how to plot it as a vector like components. And in this video, I'm just having a question. Okay, I'm just having a question. Let's say you have a portfolio with the 3 assets. So let me have like asset A, asset B, asset C. Okay, in that let me assume I'm just having $100 of total. This is totally $100. Okay, this is total. Okay, don't confuse. In that, what I just given here is you allocate 50% on asset A. So for asset A, I just allocated 50%. In asset B, I just allocated 30%. In asset C, I just allocated 20%. So we are just going to calculate the return which we just got, because that's the exact like question. Because in each asset, see here, I just allocated assets like this. I just allocated my $100 into this, which is like $50 to this. Let me assume $50 for like A stock, and $30 for B stock, and $20 for C stock. So if you calculate this, you will be getting $100 totally. So what we are going to exactly do is we are just going to find out the total return which we just accumulated with this asset. So for that, here you just here I just given a question like asset A. Okay, you just imagine asset A is having a return of 8%, and asset B having a return of 5%, and asset C having a return of 2%. So now what I'm going to do is, let me put it up. Let me add the same question here. Let me add the same question here so that it will be easier for you to get it. Okay, so now what we are just going to do is, already we just seen how much percentage we just allocated. Here we are just going to find out total returns. That's the question. Finally, you need to find the total return, how much totally the return we just got. Here in asset A, we just got 8%. In asset B, we just got 5%. In asset C, we got 2%. Lot of people would be thinking, okay, 8% means it's like we are just going to add everything, and we are just going to put like 8 plus 5, it's 13, and 2, it's like 15. So totally 15% profit we made, like that you would be thinking. But this is like totally wrong. You should not add this. You should do in a different way, because that's the way we are just going to follow now. So now let me add the question again, because question is very, very important. Let me add the question again. In that, we are just going to focus on the main parts. Okay, so I'm just adding the question again. Here what we are just going to do is, we are just going to convert this percentage into decimals. For example, A asset is 50%, so 50 divided by 100. B asset is 30%, 30 divided by 100. C asset is 20%, 20 divided by 100. So what you will get exactly, you will be getting 0.5, 0.3, 0.2. So what you have to do is, you just write what are all the result you just got as a component, like 0.5, 0.3, 0.2. So what you're going to do is, you're just going to write this. You will be getting a 3-dimensional, which is nothing but x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. But we are not going to go with an axis. We are just going to find out how much return our portfolio has been given. Because if you add that directly how much return we got, it will be a big problem. For example, let me add the question again. Let me add the question again. So if you add, see, I just added the question again so that you people can see it in a visible way. So what happened is, you can see it very clearly. Here A, B, C, which we just got around 0.5, 0.3, 0.2. So this is what we just got. So with this, we need to add the returns, because if you add all the returns, you can't find out what is the total return you just got in your portfolio. Even if you are in a coding part, even if you're coding your final return, you should not directly add all the returns from all the asset you have. That is not at all going to give the proper result. So instead of that, so total return, what I'm just going to do is A, B, C, which I'm just going to find out the decimals for this. For example, 8 divided by 100, 5 divided by 100, because like you would be asking from where you just given 8. See here, asset A has given 8% value, asset B has given 5% value, asset C has given 2% value. So if you divide this, you will be getting a value of 0.8, sorry, 0.08, 0.05, 0.02. You got it now? Don't confuse. A very easy concept and very easy. I'm just making myself a very easier to make you understand, because I'm just going to cover the easiest concepts for you people. So totally what we got is, I'm just going to add same values as in components, like 0.08, 0.05, 0.02. So at last, what I'm just going to find out is, I'm just going to have, let me add the question again. So what we are just going to find out is, what is the total return our portfolio has been happened. So what I'm going to do is very easy. 0.5 into 0.08 plus 0.3 into 0.05. Let me drag this. Plus 0. We have nearly 20% of asset allocation here. 20% is here. So what I'm going to do is 0.2 into 2%. Okay. So now I need to find out what is the total return I got for my portfolio. So for this, if you do this method, like whatever the things I just given, so for that, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to use the calculator. So first thing, like we can see the things. So first thing, let me drag my calculator here. Okay. So first thing is 0.5 into 0.08 plus 0.3 into 0.05 plus 0.2 into 0.02 is equal to, you will be getting an answer of 0. What we just got, 0.059. Okay, so I'm just going to write 0.059. You would be having a doubt, what is this? You just said you're just going to find out the final result, and you just got a value like 0.059. What is this exactly? See, we just divided everything to make the value to the decimal value. So now what we are just going to do is, we are just going to multiply into 100, so that you will get a value of 5.9, which is nothing but the total portfolio return is going to be 5.9%. You got it? You got it. This is the math behind the portfolio returns what you just got. So like that, you can assume, like for example, let me give a question for you people. You just sit and calculate. Okay, let's assume now. So let's have 10 asset in your portfolio. Okay, so totally we are just going to have 10 asset. So asset A, asset B, asset C, asset D, asset E, asset F, 1 2 3 4 5 6, G, H, I, J, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so now what I'm just going to do is I'm just allocate let's allocate 5 percentage and 10 percentage, but at last it should be like 100. So let me take my another mobile and I will give now. So 5, 10, and let me give like 15, and now I'm just going to give 8 for D, and 7, 5, 5, 8, 7, 5, 5, 20 plus 15. Here I'm just going to give 10. So 10. So totally, this how the portfolio will balance. So what I just given is I just allocated my $100. Here I just keep $100. Okay, here $100 is there. So with this $100, I just allocated for each asset. I just split my $100 into 5%, 10%, 15%, 8%, 7%, 5, 20 to 15, 10 to each assets. So I would be analyzed asset previously. Based on this, I just allocated this. So with this, I just given a return. For example, let's give an assumption. Okay. For A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So in that, what I'm just going to do is, because always when you invest on something, you should not put all your money in one basket. So if you have the 10 or more than 10, it would be good. Okay. So here A, like for A asset, I just got a return of 1%, and for B asset, I just got a return of 2, and for C asset, I got a return of we can assume like 5%, 10%, 12%, 5%, 4%, 2%, 3%, 4%. So what you're going to do is, you people are going to calculate this and you're just going to do as a homework. So this problem is going to be a homework problem, so you can do it, so that you're just going to find out what is the total profit you just made in a portfolio. Because this is very, very important concept, guys, because you're just going to use in each and every calculations and each and every equations in your quantitative finance, or like even if you're building your own strategy, this is going to be in a part. So don't miss this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it small and I'm just going to sort this problem. Okay, so I just made it small so that I can see visibly what I just given. So here I just given 0.5%, so it would be 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, 0.08, 0.07, 0.05, 0.05, 0.2, 0.15, 0.1. So this is the value, this is the components we just got it. In that, we are just going to add the next component of, see, this is like, we can give asset A is equal to, and this is like R, which is like result. So in result, what are all we just given from A. So from A, it's like 0.01, 0.02, 0.05, 0.1, 0.12, 0.05, 0.04, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to find out what is the total return my portfolio has given. Okay, see, in that return you can even have the negative percentage or something, but for making you to understand and making you to clear, I'm just making something like this so that it will be very very clear for you. Okay, so now I just got this value. So now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to find out TR, like total return. So for finding out TR, I need to multiply 0.05 into 0.01 plus 0.1 into 0.02 plus 0.15 into 0.05 and plus 0.08 into 0.1 plus 0.07 into 0.12 plus 0.05 into values here 0.05 plus 0.05 into 0.04 plus, so where I just left, okay, 0.2 into 0.02 plus 0.11 into 0.03 plus 0.1 into 0.04. So I just taken these calculations. Now let me close the bracket, and we are just going to find out the total value. So for that, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to write TR is equal to, so now I'm just going to take a calculator now. Where is the calci? Sorry guys, I'm just having a small calculator. You just have a calculator in your hand, because when you are doing math you need a calculator. So 0.05 into 0.01 plus some, if I left something I'm really sorry, but I just covered 0.02 plus 0.15 into 0.05 plus 0.15, okay, after 1508, okay, 8, 0.08 into 0.1 plus 0.07 into 0.12 plus 0.05 into 0.05 plus 0.05 into 0.04 plus 0.02 into 0.02 plus 0.11 into 0.03 plus 0.1 into 0.004 is equal to 0.386. So I think something is little confused. So let me even put on my mobile. So 0.05 into 0.01 plus 0.1 into 0.02 plus 0.15 into 0.05 plus 0.08 into 0.1 plus 0.07 into 0.12 plus 0.05 into 0.05 plus 0.05 into 0.04 plus 0.2 into 0.02 plus 0.11 in 0.11 into 0.03 plus 0.1 into 0.04 Okay, we just left one thing because I just got 0.0422. Okay, I just left some like one value somewhere. That's the problem. That's what like I just got a confusion. So totally we just got 0.0422. So what you have to do is you need to multiply into 100. So you will be getting a value of 4.2. So 4.22 percentage your entire portfolio has been made. So now you'd be having one doubt. Now you'd be having a one doubt. Let me go through that. What doubt you would be having is like for example, how we got 4.22 percentage. You would be having this doubt, how we got 4.22 percentage. See, if you add more assets in your basket, because already in previously we just had lot of conversation and everything I just said to a lot of people. See, if you add a little asset in your basket, for example 1 or 2, your odd would be like win or lose. Like win or lose in the sense, if anything happens, if any collapses happen in market or anything, because everything is linked with economics, politics and everything. So if anything changed or anything collapsed, what will happen is if you have 1 or 2 asset in your portfolio, things will get collapsed and your portfolio would be smiling at you. So instead of getting in a trap, what I will say is minimum you should have 10 asset in your basket. So if you have 10 asset, there is two things are there. One is, if 4 to 5 stock is going down, or 4 to 5 any kind of assets you have, like 4 to 5 it's going down, it can be mutual funds or it can be ETF or anything. If 4 to 5 is going down, only 3 to 4 is going up, your polar, like I just seen a lot of time, your portfolio would be balanced, or you would be in a little profit, or you will be only in a little loss. Only you will be in a little profit or little loss, or you'd be in a huge profit, or you'd be in a rebalance. You won't be in loss or profit, you'd be in the same. You know how it's happened? It's because of you allocate your asset to many, like you just allocate your money to many assets. But here, if one thing is going wrong, your loss would be more. It can vanish your half of your portfolio. But if you do something like rebalancing with more and more assets in your portfolio, automatically it will get a rebalance. So by getting rebalance, what will happen is your portfolio would be like strong, same time it would be balanced. In this, I just said you one thing is this one, like positive, and the next one is a negative news, which is nothing but your total return would be always a lesser. Like even if the market is going up nicely, your profit would be lower. Why it's lower is, if you add more and more coins in your basket, automatically it's going to allocate the profit to other assets. For example, if some asset is losing, other asset profit can be shared by other assets. So this is what the exact thing is happening when you choose plenty of assets. So in that, if anything is in for example, if you are like having 10 assets in one thing, you always, if you go through, your profitability would be lower. But if you have only little bit, if you make a profit, your profitability would be 10, 20, 50 percentage very easily. But if anything goes wrong, same time 10 to 20 or 50 percentage will be in minus. Same time, if everything is going upside down, if anything huge wrong happened, even in this scenario, your loss would be minimal. Even your loss also would be lower. So that's the difference. If you have plenty in your basket, then you're saved. You're just going to gain a lot. You're just going to lose a lot. You're going to gain a lot, like little bit. But if you're like like at the first equation, I just given 3 assets, right? In that, if you see, we just made nearly 5.6 percentage. How it happened is we just have only minimal amount of assets. So even splitting out asset can be calculated in your equation. So in your equation, when you're building an investment based strategy or trading based strategy, balancing with the balancing, you need to see the weightage with the weightage, whether you can be entirely profit or not. So for that, you need to connect with the market cap. With the market cap, you need to verify which one is better and everything. So these are all the things people are not seeing, but if you see, no one can stop you. We can see on the next video.